Dear colleagues, dear CEREPS participants and Eupea members, and dear online participants, welcome to the QualiTePE International Multiplier event and organized by as a dissemination event in the frames of QualiTePE project. In the next 2.5 hours, the experts from the project consortium will share their experiences and results from QualiTePE project and what they were working in the last 2 years. And what was happening during last 2 years in the frames of the project in the team from 11 different organizations from 10 different countries. Before we start with the official presentation and we start with the sharing of the results and experiences, on behalf of the name of the project team, I would like first to thank to the organizers of this event. So here with us we have Professor Roland Knoll, which is the president of CEREPS, and this event is happening, it's a merge event in the frames of CEREPS Summit, and also Avelino Azevedo, which is the president of Eupea, and Eupea is the official organizer of this event. So these two organizations work together as a team and make possible to have this event. And also to say thanks to Professor Francis Reyes from the University of Seville, for the technical support and for the all great organization here. And also to you all for your time and for your interest for our event. Now, before we start with the presentation of the project team, I would first give the word to Professor Roland Knoll to welcome you, and then to Avelino.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon to everyone. I especially want to welcome the incoming new delegates from the QualiTePE project. And I'm personally happy that this is a joint venture, that we have our summit, but as an integral part, your final international multiplier. It fits perfect to our agenda of the afternoon, where we discuss how to cooperate much closer between the Research Council and different European umbrella organizations. So I wish you the best for this meeting, good success and inspiring discussion. And also enjoy the evening we have before us. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Knoll. And I would also like to give the word to Avelino Azevedo, president of Eupea, which is the organizer of this multiplier event.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes a todos. Para mí es más fácil con portugués de hablar un poquito español. But my words obviously in English to everybody here in the room and also the online. Thank you very much for being here. Obviously, my first words back to the CEREPS Summit 2024, taking place here in Seville, in the Facultad de Ciencias de Educación de la Universidad de Sevilla. And to Roland Knoll, in your name, for receiving this international multiplier event during this CEREPS Summit. For us, the presence here is important as we want to develop some cooperation lines to continuously promote and defend physical education in Europe. And this is an important role within the school system and for the training of the young people, as it's also the vision of Eupea as a non-profit and non-governmental professional organization of national PE associations. Eupea is obviously also a partner in Erasmus sports project based on these 5 points categories of our metrics, which is available on our website and which this QualiTePE project is based on the category of teacher education. How to improve the teacher quality in PE teaching. This is one of the goals of the metrics and one of the goals of Eupea. Why? Because QualiTePE project aims to operationalize quality teaching of physical education. And this project brought together 11 partners, institutions and organizations from 10 countries working in the segment of PE teaching. And this project aims to achieve consensus about what is good and quality PE teaching and to develop QualiTePE framework. The outcomes and results from the project will for sure be beneficial for all PE teachers, as it gives a clear criterion what QualiTePE indicators are and provide a reliable instrument for evaluation, making the characteristics of good PE teaching more visible And this is also one of our goals, one of the goals of the methods. And it's for sure will be beneficial for PE teaching practice, but also be important for education of future PE teachers and PE teacher educators. So, like for this one, I wish you all here present in this room and the more 100 people online an excellent international multiplier event. Thank you very much, Liliana.
Thank you very much, Evelina. And now it's time to go to the real work. So first, I would just like to give some information for the online participants. You're all welcome to share your comments and your questions in the chat session, and we are trying to follow and answer it during the or discuss your concerns during the last part of the agenda. And now we would start first about the project and what the project about and what was happening in the last years. As I already mentioned at the beginning, this multiplier event is happening in the frames of the CEREPS summit. And yesterday and today we had a lot of discussions about that, what quality physical education is, how to evaluate, and what are the parameters for this. And this is something that the product team was working in the last 2 years. So I hope that today we will hear many interesting results and also receive answers to many of your questions. So I would like to now invite Diana Vasichkova, representing Eupea, to give a short overview of the project, of the goals of the project, and also the activities in the last years.
Okay, hello, dear colleagues from the field of physical education. Let me say a few words about the project, QualiTePE teaching in physical education. This project started in 2022 and finishing by the end of June this year, so it lasted for 30 months, and some information were already said by Evelina Azevedo. So, quality of teaching is considered as a central determinant of successful learning in schools, providing valuable guidance for planning and reflection on instruction to predict learning outcomes and enhance pedagogical practices. Educational research in recent decades has developed characteristics list for good teaching across various subjects, but in Europe, no consensus on what constitutes good physical education practice is agreed. Also, no validated observational instrument or questionnaire could be employed for educational research and teacher professionalization purposes. Okay. Slide. So behind the project, there are some questions that should be answered. So what is a good PE teaching? How can dimensions and characteristics of good PE practice be integrated in framework concept valid throughout Europe? And how can good second one, quality evaluation instrument for the formative assessment of PE, and third one was the QualiTePE teaching materials enabling education at universities. Targeted group, as was mentioned by the president, were either researchers, also teacher educators, also stakeholders, policymakers, and other people who can be beneficial from this tool. Okay, and we can see next 4 project steps. So first, there was a quality framework that we were working on in a Delphi study about some research research articles regarding this quality parameters. Then there was a development of quality assessment tool. After that, pilot and implementation validation study was done early this year And there was a development of toolkit for teacher training, which was piloted also in national countries. That's shortly the addressing of the program.
Yeah, hello everybody. Good afternoon from me as well. Wiebke Langer from the University of Hamburg. And so good to see you all here in person and online. And after this concise overview of the background and aims of the project, I'm very pleased to discuss and present with you the process and results of our project's first study. As already mentioned in the introduction, the question, what can be described as high teaching, depends on what educational goals and subject-specific concepts are followed in the national context in PE. Based on this situation, one of the main objectives of the QualiTePE project was to bring together experts from different European countries like you to develop a shared understanding of quality in physical education. So in the next, I think, 10 to 15 minutes, I will focus on the development of the framework concept in order to promote such a common understanding of high quality PE teaching throughout Europe. Sorry. Okay, good. Our first conceptual considerations regarding the development of a subject-specific framework were based on a pre-existing general teaching model, which is called the main-teach model. Main-teach stands for a multi-layered and integrated character in conceptualizing the quality of teaching. As a synthesis framework, it includes the generic and subject-specific aspects of teaching quality in a comprehensive and multi-layered way. Doing so, it is designed around a prototypical teaching learning sequence, and it takes into account the opportunities use structure of teaching. A closer look at this complex model shows that it contains 8 generic and subject-specific dimensions at different levels. Besides the 3 basic and generic dimensions of teaching quality in the middle layer, classroom management, social and emotional support, and support for active engagement, this model considers 4 more dimensions in the inner layer, selecting and addressing the content, cognitive activation, supporting practicing, and formative assessment. They are organized all together since all of them are geared towards directly supporting students' practice and learning processes. Moreover, we have a cutting across dimension, differentiation, and adaptation. In our opinion, this model fits very well as a starting point because on the one hand, it reflects the current international state of research regarding teaching and quality teaching PE, or in quality in general. And on the other hand, it is compatible with the subject didactical discourse of the quality in teaching physical education on the level of dimensions and outcomes. It's okay. Good. In conclusion, we consider that the main teach model with its skeleton of 8 dimensions as a basis to work out a common understanding of high quality PE teaching at the level of subdimensions and indicators among the European partners. But starting from this point, how can we work out a framework concept of quality in teaching PE in a systematic and structured way, which is accepted by the European partners and which takes at the same time subject and country-specific aspects into account? For this purpose, we initiated a cross-cultural Delphi study with 324 experts in the area of quality in teaching physical education in these 10 European partner countries and in a few others. At this point, I would like to take this opportunity now to thank every one of you who took part in this Delphi study and shared your expertise with us. You contribute to a really big milestone in our project. Thank you for this. The Delphi study was carried out to articulate shared expert opinions on the question, what are good and the most effective characteristics of teaching quality in physical education? In 3 rounds of data collection, participants with different levels of expertise on the quality of teaching in physical education were asked to assess specific dimensions by rating in the first round and by ranking 28 subdimensions in the second round via online questionnaires. Here on this slide, you can see the subdimensions in declining order. High consensus with only slight differences was reached on a final ranked list of 20 subdimensions, which are assigned to 6 overarching dimensions. Every subdimension under the red line didn't reach this threshold of 90%. So following an empirical-based and content-related procedure, we decided either to discard them or merge them with other subdimensions over the red line. It is noting that one of the key subdimensions of PE, promoting of students' motor activity, has just managed the threshold of 90.4%. The highest levels of agreement were achieved in the subdimension promotion of a positive learning climate, teachers' empathy, as well as student-centered teaching climate, which are all subordinated to the main dimension social and emotional support and social climate, one of the 3 basic dimensions of good teaching. And these being closely followed by inclusion of all students. So finally, we have the end results after Delphi round 2 on this chart. As shown, the finally QualiTePE list. It displays the consensus of high-quality PE structured list accepted throughout Europe. In this step, the final ranked list of 20 subdimensions are assigned to 6 corresponding higher level dimensions. This list has already been designed around the timing of a prototypical teaching learning sequence. And cautious about overgeneralizing, we propose that this finding, which result in the conceptual QualiTePE framework, provide empirically based and content-related information for standardized evaluation of quality in PE with the relevance within Europe and beyond. Thus, this quality framework list forms the basis of an assessment tool for teaching practice in different European countries, which Angelo will report on in a moment. So now I would like to hand over to Angelo, and who will explain and present the digital QualiTePE evaluation tool. As a special feature, he will also give you a hands-on demonstration of its functionality.
Thank you very much, Wiebke. I take a seat. I will present you the 2 project steps. For the second project step, the QualiTePE evaluation tool was in our responsibility. It was the team of the Teachers University of Zurich who developed the questionnaire in collaboration with Hamburg, and we try to develop an adaptive tool which makes it possible to use the questionnaire efficiently in practice. We designed a web-based platform together with a Swiss company that specialized in stakeholder-oriented evaluations. In this newly designed platform, we have implemented the QualiTePE questionnaire. The QualiTePE tool includes 23 subdimensions on the process quality of PE. For example, emotional support, use of time, clarity of rules. Each subdimension is measured by 3 to 5 questions called items. The tool contains 78 items in total, of which 58 items were adapted from existing studies and 20 items were newly developed in the project. In future, these 20 items will have to be analyzed statistically. These items have been translated into 10 languages by the QualiTePE project partners. Thank you very much for your work. What makes the QualiTePE tool unique and innovative is the ability to evaluate 3 different perspectives in one step. The perspective of teachers, or PE teachers, the perspective of students, and the perspective of an observer or observers. These 3 perspectives can be directly compared in the administration surface of the tool. This assessment of perceived process quality of PE can be used for reflection of teaching quality and teaching development. To ensure that the tool is freely accessible and not dependent on a provider or an application store, we have developed a web-based platform where users can register independently and free of charge. This is done through a 2-step registration process where the email address is validated. After the 2-step registration process, users can log in and access the QualiTePE tool via the library menu. This will take them to the administration interface of the QualiTePE tool. The best user experience of the administration platform is guaranteed when using a computer or tablet. It is not really recommended to use the administration platform on a mobile phone. However, the service, the end product of the assessments for students, teachers, and observers can be easily completed on a mobile phone. In the administration interface of the QualiTePE tool, users can freely create questionnaires with the 23 selectable subdimensions. It was important to us that the questionnaires could be complied individually. This is because depending on the content of the lesson, the phase of the learning process, the composition of the class, the teacher's expertise, or other framework conditions, different subdimensions of process quality are interesting to observe and discuss. For ease of use, the questions items are displayed from the learner's perspective by mouse over. After selecting the individually interesting subdimensions, 3 questionnaires are automatically generated for the perspectives of students, teachers, and observers. The system automatically generates short links and QR codes that can be shared with the target audience. It is also possible to evaluate only 1 or 2 perspectives. The tool does not require all 3 perspectives to be evaluated. The use of QR codes makes it possible, for example, to collect the evaluation directly after the PE lesson using mobile phones. If the technical requirements are not met or there is no access to the internet, the questionnaire can be completed by the students when they return to the classroom. All data collected is stored anonymously in accordance with the European General Data Protection Regulation. In the following, we will demonstrate a possible application of the QualiTePE tool. So we change the screen for the hands-on part. Short moment. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Ist noch nicht freigegeben? Einen Moment. Ein bisschen lost hier. Ja, genau. Okay. I was too fast. Okay, now we're ready. If you're not yet registered, you can do so free of charge with a two-step registration, as I already mentioned. For this presentation, I already made a login. You see here's the administration surface with library and the option to see current service. If I want to make a new survey, I use this button, start a new survey. Then I can name the survey. Here it's important that you that you use no names or class names or schools for the anonymization of the data. Then this data, like how many pupils are in the class and how old they are, aren't relevant for the assessment. These are only relevant for statistical use. So today, the online participants will play the students. For this reason, we enter here 20. Age 26 or older, because we think you're young at heart if you join an event like this. I think we choose 20. Okay.
Number of pupils.
Doesn't matter, but we can choose here more. Okay. In the next window, you see the selection of the subdimensions. In this questionnaire, I will focusing on two aspects: classroom management, and secondly, support for the students' individual learning process. That's the reason why I choose clarity of rules and safety. Comprehensibility. And as you can see, if I go with the mouse over the topic, I see the items which are behind this subdimension. Aspiration level and constructive feedback. Here is it. If you want to see a preview of the questionnaire, you can see, you can choose the preview function here right now. Because of time, we let this step and we go to the next step. The system automatically generates short links and QR codes, which you can provide with your class or with the observers. If you want to download the QR codes and the links for PDF download, you can choose this function over here. If it's also possible to save the QR codes directly on your computer. Are there any questions in the room? Otherwise, we will follow or we go further. To evaluate our PE lesson or our setting right now here, I prepared another questionnaire, which is in the PowerPoint. I will show you the PowerPoint. again. Okay, one moment. Not here. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Erin. Diana will share the link for the students with you in the chat. So the online participants are the students. So think about your last PE lesson. How was your last PE lesson? And read through the items and choose by imagination your content. The people here right now in the room are the observers. We ask you friendly to make an evaluation with the square link. And Alina in the audience, also here, is our teacher. Alina will make the evaluation by herself. Okay, perfect. Okay. We let you some time to go through the items, read it by yourself. If you already have finished the survey, you can go on to the two documents, and you can read through the fresh published scale documentation and the fresh published technical manual if you're interested. The questionnaire you received is originally generated in English, but it's also possible to switch the language. You will see the language at the top of the questionnaire. If the link or the QR code does not work, I strongly recommend that you update your web browser, also for security reasons. The system also supports all the versions of all browser versions, but if the browser version is too old, the questionnaire doesn't really work. So if you have any problems right now, I would recommend that you update your browser. Okay. In the audience, you need some more time? Okay, we'll let you some time. And if you already finished your questionnaire, you can check out the QualiTePE scale documentation in which all items are in there, and you can read through your language version and through the different subdimensions which are developed in this project. So what do you think? Can we go on? Yeah, everyone who's ready can stand up. Yes. Okay. Then we go back to the administration platform. One short moment, please. So. I prepare the administration platform for you. If you need some more time, you can write it into the chat. Erin already asked you if you need some more time. We have time and we can give it to you. Erin? Okay, not so far. Okay, let's go. Yeah, let's go on. Now we go straight back to the administration platform. To do this, we click, or to check the results, we click here on survey results, current service.
Interesting moment.
Yeah, that's an interesting moment. A moment of truth. Sometimes it could be that because the system is complex, sometimes it could be that the loading process takes a bit time. Yes. And now you can see all the servers I generated the last days. And I use this here, multiplier event Seville. Now I have to close the questionnaire that the systems will evaluate all the answers you gave. Here we have a safety button. It's for that you don't close the survey before everybody has used the questionnaire. Okay, so I closed the survey. I'm a bit excited because it's a stress test for the system. It has probably had never to process so many answers like today. So we'll see what happened. You see here our questionnaire, and here is this button to come to the evaluation results. Thank you very much. Okay. As you can see here, we have a spider diagram, which represents the mean values of all subdimensions. In our case, we evaluated comprehensibility, aspiration level, clarity of rules, safety, and constructive feedback. And now this chart allows us to speak about the perceived process quality of the PE lesson. So, for example, safety, the teacher thought, yeah, the safety was pretty good. I took care on what is going on in the in the gym, in the PE lesson, sorry. And the students rate these subdimensions a bit different. So Alina has another perception of this subdimension than her students. And these differences are a possibility to speak about subdimensions or about the process quality of PE teaching. The bar charts in the lower part of the evaluation overview provide information on the absolute and percentage number of responses. In this case, from the student's perspective. This makes it possible to recognize whether the mean values in the spider diagram were influenced by downward outliers, for example, very critical pupils, or even upward outliers, like in this case. Okay. We have also the possibility to download the evaluation as a PDF and store it in a journal or something like that if you want to compare it for a later assessment or something like that. Okay? So I hope we have been able to inspire you with an insight into the QualiTePE tool for possible applications in your context. I would like to hand over the floor to the team from Netherlands. What? Sorry. Sorry, I was too fast. Sorry. It's because the match of Netherlands. I'm really excited about the soccer match. Okay, so I will switch the screen.
Thank you, Angelo, very much. And then we hope that the teachers that were online and also the one present here will try to use more time to investigate how the tool works and then apply in their teaching context. And now the floor goes to Alina Lemling from the University of Luxembourg, which is also the coordinator of the project and the driving force of the project in the last 2 years. So Alina will present the handbook and the guiding materials that are available for you to use it in the future. Meanwhile, also, if you have some questions, you can share it here in the chat as well, and then we're going to answer at the end of the session.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Biljana. Right, so the question now is, if you have not participated in such a great multiplier event, how to implement this whole thing in your personal framework, so under your conditions and yeah, with your courses, with your classes. And we will give you some material that we provided in order to help you to implement the whole thing in your context. So
it is intense. Yeah.
Okay, so this guidance material, it is not at the final version, so we are going to use the this final transnational project meeting to finalize these materials. But we would like to give you a small insight today how it is going to look like roundabout. So the guidance material consists of 2 parts. So we have a handbook and a teacher or teacher educator toolkit. So I will start with the handbook, and I would ask maybe some of the project team to pass around a first draft of the handbook. You can also stand up to help them a little bit to reach you, and that it goes a bit faster, that we hand around the handbook paper version. And for the online participants, Biljana is going to share a link that you can open, or you can try it if it works with the link on the slide. But Biljana is also sharing a link that you can open and have a look at the handbook. So after a small introduction about what is about the project, we can read about again what Wiebke just presented. So the QualiTePE framework. So what is the theoretical background of the project? Then the results of the Delphi study. And after that, the part that Angelo presented. So how did the results of the Delphi study were transferred in this digital tool? And then on page 20, we created some different didactic scenarios. So situation that we think the tool could be beneficial. And after that, some insight into the some technical advices, how to create a questionnaire, how to log in, create a questionnaire, and then seeing the results and analyzing the results. And the end of our handbook is how to interpret the feedback then. So the results that you get out of this spider diagram, as well as the other diagrams, how can this help you to improve either your own professional skills or the one that you are guiding in their teacher education courses or pre-service teacher education in school. So please have a look at the handbook, see what is in there, and I will give you some a few minutes to see how it looks like, and then we continue with the teacher educator toolkit. I can see that the people still reading intensively, so we will wait a few more minutes before we continue. All right, so then we come to the second part of the practical material. So the online resources consists of different like PowerPoint slides or PowerPoint presentation that you can use to introduce the tool either to teachers, to your students, or as well to your pupils in school when you are going to before you're going to hand out the questionnaire, to show them, okay, what is important to know when we fill out, and some practical advices. Then we have some video material some tutorials that guides you through the tool. We have, in case you do not want to print this whole handbook, we created a two-slider with kind of a flow chart. So giving an overview what kind of different steps you should follow when implementing the tool. And if you need more information, you can go to the handbook and see on the different pages where we can find more information. And on the back, there is this overview of the QualiTePE characteristics you can find in the tool. So just that teachers can see, okay, I am interested in structuring, so that they have just an overview. And in order to see what is behind the different subdimensions, they can go into the tool, put the cursor above the dimensions and see the different items, or use the scale documentation Angelo just mentioned. There you have an overview. What are the different characteristics and what are the different items? Right. So the online participants can, thank you, Biljana, have a link as well to this two-pager. And then I will come to the last part of the toolkit. So I will give you a small insight into how the videos could look like. So we have English version here from our colleagues from UCC. And with the different languages, we are going to discuss if we're going to have the videos translated in all the languages or have it via subtitles. We will see. But for now, we use this English video we have already prepared to give you an insight how it looks like. Okay. See?
Good afternoon, colleagues. The purpose of today's online.
So this is Wesley from UCC.
Example of how you can create an online questionnaire using QualiTePE instrument using our existing software. So the very first thing I'm going to do as part of this recording is I'm going to share my screen and show you how you would log in. So if you can bear with me one moment, I will just show you how that can be done. So the first thing is, as part of me sharing my screen, is to show you the login page, which I hope you can all see here on my main screen. So as you can see, the website qualitype.ph.ch/login/ is that login page. So obviously I have my prefixed wesley.o'brien@ucc.ie email address registered already, and I have an existing password that I hope will log in correctly now. So when I click on the green button, sign in, it should bring me to the first page. So as you can see here, it brings me to the home page.
So Wesley in this video is actually doing what Angelo just did, that you can have repeated at home, share with the colleagues, and guiding you through the different steps of using the tool. So this is what I would like to show you. So we have this handbook and the toolkit. All the things are going to be online on the QualiTePE website. So we're going to share the link with you as well at the end. And there you can find all the informations. And then I will hand over to the colleagues from the Netherlands.
Thank you, Alina. I hope that you can all access these resources, but we're also going to share the links at the end as well, and also through emails with the all registered online participants. And now the floor goes to the colleagues from Netherlands. We know that there is a very difficult situation because of the game that is happening now.
And we are behind.
Yes.
Yes, so we are very angry now. Good evening, everyone. My name is Menno Slingland. This is Lars Borghout, my colleague. We are from Fontis in the Netherlands, and we were responsible for the pilot testing of the tool. So we tested the tool in practice in the different countries, and we will present the results from this pilot testing. So there were two pilot phases. The first one was aimed at the user experiences of the tool, which I will present, and then Lars, he will present the second pilot phase, which was more about using the tool as a didactic instrument for feedback. So what we did for the user experience, so we wanted to gain insight into the user experience of the tool, and we asked each partner to apply the tool in practice, at least in one teaching learning scenario. And then we asked them to administer a user experience questionnaire by Lugwich, which asks about different themes of user experience, which I will come to. And this was filled in by, for example, the observer, the teacher, and the pupils. If that was the teaching learning scenario, then these persons filled in the questionnaire. And the questionnaire was a 7-point scale. So you see an example here. For example, did I find the tool annoying to work with or very enjoyable? And I could slide the scale from 1 to 7. So the user experience questionnaire has 6 scales. It asks about the attractiveness of the tool, so if it's pleasant to use. The perspicuity of the tool, which means if it's clear, easy to use, an easy to use tool. The efficiency of the tool, so if it's a practical tool to use. About the dependability, so if it's a predictable tool. and about stimulation. So do users want to engage with this tool if they start using it? And do they continue to use it? And novelty. So these were the themes that were asked within this questionnaire by various questions. So strictly to the results, immediately to the results. So what you see here is the 7-point scale from a 0.0 with a -3 and a +3, actually. So everything above 0 is positive. Everything in green is good, as you can see. So a few remarks on this slide. So for the perspicuity is quite high, which means so the tool is found to be easy to use. It does what it needs to do. And the two skills on the right side of the screen, stimulation and novelty, they are a little bit lower. And when we plot these results for the teachers that filled in the questionnaire and the students, then we see a lot of similar results. However, the two skills on the right, so stimulation and novelty, are scored quite a bit lower by the students. So what does it mean? It means that they don't find the tool very attractive to use. Well, you saw it. It's very basic. It does what it does. That's why the perspicuity skill is quite high. And the novelty for them, it's not a very novel tool. The question is if that's a problem, because the tool works fine. It does what it needs to do. But anyway, these were the scores that we got out of the pilot. So in conclusion of the first pilot phase, so it's an efficient, easy to use and reliable tool, which is very good. There could be some possible improvements in the future. So for example, the extent to which the tool stimulates engagement. And in making it more innovative, we could think about adding options, or maybe the aesthetics of the tool could be improved. But that's maybe for a future endeavor. So in conclusion, it's a potentially powerful tool. It has worked well in practice, at least from a user experience perspective. And Lars will now go into the second pilot phase. Yeah.
Okay, so as Mel already mentioned, the next pilot phase was about the use of the tool for feedback. So the first phase was really about the technical side of the tool, and this was about using it. So the main question for this was, are the digital QualiTePE tool and the supporting manual, which was just shown by Alina in part, are they considered helpful in generating and discussing quality feedback to the PE teachers or PE students when they are using it? So what we did was that we asked all project partners to use the tool for feedback that could either be in practice in physical education, like secondary schools or primary schools, or it could be at their own university, for example, in micro-teaching situations. And what we did is that we had a questionnaire with open-ended questions, and after the feedback had happened, so the lesson was taught and there was feedback was being given. After that, they filled in the questionnaire. There were questions about the teaching and learning scenario, and there were questions about the added value of the tool in practice. So drawbacks, benefits, efficiency, etc. And then two researchers, you are looking at them right now, they independently coded the questions and generated themes. Then we had a discussion and we compared our themes and we tried to come to one definitive framework for the analysis. So in total, there were 53 occasions in which the tool was used for feedback in 7 countries, so Switzerland, Luxembourg, Belgium, Czech Republic, France, Germany, and the Netherlands. And we didn't have a lot of information about the exact teaching and learning scenarios, but we do have the roles that were taken. So most of the teacher roles were taken by physical education, teacher education students. So mostly in universities. On 8 occasions, they were PE teachers in practice. And on 1 occasion, it was a physical education, teacher education professor. So the learners were usually children or PET students. The observers were, in one occasion, also a child. 29 occasion PET students, 2 PE teachers, and 21 PET teachers. So to the results. So we have considered benefits and drawbacks of the tool as main themes. And there are 3 themes about the benefits of the tool. So the first one is generation of feedback, which is, of course, the most important thing we want to achieve with the tool. So there were many mentions of the use of the tool being honest and anonymous, which were comments made by the students, the learners in the lessons mainly, because they are able to share their feedback in an anonymous way with the teacher instead of having to give it face to face. And as one person wrote, so it's unbiased feedback without the power imbalance between teaching staff and learners. And then the feedback process was also seen as being democratic, since everyone involved in the lesson is also involved in generating feedback. And the feedback process was also perceived as being structured because the framework is being used, which is developed within the project, and you can select your own subdimensions. So this provides focus for the feedback discussion. The second theme that came out of the second pilot phase was facilitation of reflection. So people said that it allowed self-reflection and subsequent discussion. Sorry, I skipped one. So as intended, the users report that the tool allows comparison of different perspectives. So that's the teacher, the student, and the observer. And then they appreciated that it also facilitates self-reflection and subsequent discussion on the basis of the data that is generated. And although getting acquainted with the QualiTePE framework and using the tool, it also made them aware of the specific quality teaching skills that are used for QualiTePE. And that helps as a consequence with linking the theory with the practice of the PE lessons. Okay. Then several respondents suggested that using the tool repeatedly could also enable monitoring over time. So as Angelo was also saying, you can, for example, download a PDF once you've done an assessment. You can keep the PDF, or you can just download it digitally, and then after a while you can again teach and use the tool and compare the scores that you have assessed. So one person wrote, for example, it makes it clear where the self-perception differs from that of others, and then together we can look for the why and the what is needed to bring the perceptions more in line. Then the third theme, if it wants to show, was ease of use. So quite self-explainable, I think. Almost all users reported that the tool was easy to use once they had taken a little bit of time to get acquainted with it. And they said that the benefits of the tool clearly outweighed the time that it took to use it, as illustrated also by the citation you can see here. So the massive information from the students in such a short time wouldn't be possible without a tool like this. Then the drawbacks of using the tool. Those were 4 themes. The first was content. And I have to say that there were many more positive feedback than there was negative feedback, but some users reported that there were overlapping items or overlapping subdimensions, and you can imagine it's a large framework. So if you are looking at it for the first time, then some of the items will look quite similar sometimes, although we have really put a lot of time to make them distinct. It was also mentioned sometimes that the language was difficult, so especially for younger age students, sometimes the language was a bit too difficult. So one person said there were many similar questions that basically ask the same thing. So we would probably disagree as a team, but that's the perception of the users. Then another drawback of using the tool was about specificity and lack of adaptability. So some people found the framework a bit too narrow and not adaptable enough. Even though you can choose your own subdimensions that you want to use. Some people said that it wasn't personal. So one person said not personal at all, it's too general. And then one other drawback of the tool was interpretation. So some people found the multi-perspective situation a bit difficult to interpret, and also that it's difficult that the quality of the PE lesson is expressed as a number. So it's quantitative, the tool is quantitative, and then you use it for feedback. So you really have to discuss the results, but if you don't do that, then it's just quantitative. So someone, for example, said that interpretation is a bit difficult as you have only numbers that talk to you if you're not talking about the result with the observers or the students. And then finally, there were a lot of other things that were basically mentioned by just one or two persons, which I won't go into now, but they were usually more like technical stuff, such as you need a stable Wi-Fi connection, for example, to use the tool. Then finally, we asked an open question about the overall opinion about the tool. I have to say again, the large majority was positive because the tool provides a large amount of information. It was easy to use once you are familiarized with the tool, and they deemed the workload acceptable. Then there were some people that were positive, but they said we would only use it sparsely, for example, once per semester, because it does take up lesson time, of course. The students, the learners have to fill out the questionnaire, so it takes up a little bit of your time. And then finally, there were a few people that were negative in their overall opinion, mainly because of the extra workload, and they said that there wasn't so much added value if they compared it to self-reflection and discussion without using the tool. But overall, I think this quotation sums it up quite nicely. So someone said, I think when you're used to the tool, it's very easy to use, and the possible benefits will definitely weigh up against the negatives. So that's a slight bomb from one of my Swiss colleagues. Thank you, Angelo. Even though I thought I took it out, but it's still there. So thank you very much. Yeah, that's it for us.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for the feedback and these positive and negative sides of the use of the tool and the validation of the tool. So now, before this event, which is the international dissemination of the project result, a lot of country events were happening, and there was a lot of international multiplier events, and also the colleagues from different universities had the possibility to test the tool with their colleagues at their countries. So in the next few minutes, I would like to invite some of the project partners that they took part in this project as well, and to share their experiences at country specifics, because every country has their own specifics. So because of the technical reasons, I would invite colleagues to come here. So I would like to ask Gregor Jurek from the University of Ljubljana, and Christoph from the University of Strasbourg, and Francis Chase from the University of Seville to come here, and I'm sure to share your experiences with the use of the tool, with the multiplier event, the feedback from your colleagues and from the teachers as well.
I can be. Yeah.
Just
This one?
so people can see you, because the camera is there.
Or sit here. So I can use this mic. Okay. So some experience from Slovenia. We had an event with professors' assistants from Faculty of Education and the other faculties that are educating PE teachers. So PE teachers and the Faculty of Education educate the journalist teachers. And the main, let's say, conclusions were that this tool is very useful for purpose on the university level. So for educators of future teachers, less acceptable for using in classes in lower grades. So because kids will not provide good answers on this level. I have to admit that we spent more time explaining the model
So it was really interesting to them about the concept of quality PE and the competencies which are behind. So we spent some time to discuss on this, and they were quite satisfied with the framework. Also, we went or we discussed of possible scenarios that could be used, and we agreed that it could be used like in preparation for internship already in university setting, so playing roles like learning to do, so that students would create also their account and assess each other while preparing a class. And also during we have an extensive internship and these mentors from schools. This could be a valuable tool for systematically analyze the students on internship. We already have some kind of our own protocol, but we saw this as added value, so for additional value. There was some discussion also about, let's say, some possible implementation also maybe in some other subjects, but I stopped this discussion because I think we should first discuss about the legacy of this project on PE level. So I will pass the mic to other colleagues.
Thank you very much. Just one question when we are here, so others also have questions. You mentioned that you spend a lot of time of explaining the framework. Do you recommend this as an important step at the beginning?
Yes. Yes, I think it's really important that they will actually see what is behind. So all the 6 dimensions and all sub-dimensions, and there are items behind. So they will know more about this, especially for the educators. We also had PE teachers. For them, it was not so interesting, this part. However, they were really keen to know about what is actually Peter actually asked before, what is behind the quality of physical education. So on the micro level, I think this tool gives us opportunity how to monitor if teaching is on such kind of level that we would desire.
Thank you very much. So we can now go to the screen. I see the experiences from there.
Yes, thank you. Liliana, first of all, I would like to thank all the partners for the result of this project. It's impressive what has become out of this project and what we are presenting here. We did a multiplier event, national multiplier event here in this room, and it was full of prospective PE teachers. And we explained them all the results and presented all the results of the project. The students or the prospective PE teachers found the tool very useful in the sense that they said they don't have seen any similar tool which could evaluate or assess from different perspective the quality of teaching and learning in PE. We made a practical session here where they entered the tool, used it, and so on, and they found it very interesting. And nowadays, we can tell you that there are some master students which are using this tool for doing their master thesis based on their internships at school placements, and where they using this for evaluating their own teaching and the observation through external maybe inspectors or whatever, or supervisors from schools, and they find it very interesting. And my questions to them was that when they said, yeah, this is very interesting, and I said, yes, of course, but are you willing to be evaluated? Because this is something that not everybody is ready to do.
Can I reply to this?
Yes.
Because this was really also interesting question in our workshop. And actually, in regular evaluation of this, let's say, first conducting of classes. So this is university students. We have small groups and they are discussing about their teaching. And over there, they have some issues, not to be honest, let's say. But we found that this app could actually facilitate honest answers because you don't know actually who responded. So I think this is also additional added value.
Yeah, and I think another interesting thing we did that was also for them interesting. We put out a whiteboard there, and then we asked them, what is their perception of quality of physical education? And we had a lot of posters, different colors and so on, and put it there. And you can see this on pictures on the website. And at the end, most of the dimensions were matched by them. So they had a clear idea what could be important for them for saying my teaching is of high quality, and they clearly stated the dimension. Most of them were matched. So this was interesting, but they were very happy to have this tool because they say, okay, now when I'm teaching, I can use it and I can show my pupils. And they said it's very easy to use. So Lars and Benno, no problem. So teachers and even students and PE teacher prospective, they were very happy about using this tool. Okay, thank you. So.
Thank you very much. You use it also with prospective teachers,
yes.
Students. So
yeah.
might be also one of the users of the tool as well. So
yes.
would you recommend this also for the PE teachers?
Yeah, of course. They in fact they are using it in different schools now here around in Seville.
Great.
Yeah.
And now in this regard, we also have one comment from in the chat that they also use it in Hamburg in the physical education, teacher education classes. So students begin to think loudly when they see the result of their lessons. Then we go into detail what is behind. We are planning now to let them write reflection reports about the lesson. So it turns out that the tool inspired a lot of other changes in the physical education, teacher education process. And also just making students to be more critical about their work. It's also one of the good points of this. Okay, thank you very much, Francis. And now we can move to France. And
hi everyone.
And Christoph.
Yeah. So hi everyone. So we use the tool in different settings. So in initial training for PE teachers to be with supervisors and confined PE teachers. And we discussed it, of course, during multiplier event, especially with the in-training teachers. So what came out of that is what you just discussed here. So what is quality physical education? And we were kind of pleased to see that there was a global consensus about what this is, which was actually in line with the results of the Delphi study. But there are still some particularities with France, especially the French teacher. It seems like to exert more control on discipline and control on physical education. And they outline the importance of assessing skills, which was not really part of the initial. So, but globally, the consensus was met with what was discussed with the expert. In what concern its use, it turns out that it seems to be quite useful for initial training because it helps, teachers to define what is quality physical education, which is also quite difficult. It also helps more confirmed teachers to reflect about what this is, because this is not part of their day-to-day reflection. We still found some problems with experienced teachers, as the tool can be seen as a way to judge them, to judge their work. So you were mentioning this was not a problem. It appears to be a problem in France at some point. So from our experience in France, it seems to be a tool for in-training teachers that is quite fantastic. But for experienced teacher, it should. I'm glad that we have this in the manual. It should be taken with precaution and taken as a start of a discussion rather than an end in itself. So I think it's very clear from the manual toolkit right now. And it's also an interesting starting point to question what kind of intervention might improve physical education and especially physical literacy. So that has to be done, then that might be a nice link between how you teach and how you develop physical literacy, which is actually one goal of physical education throughout the world. And that's it.
Thank you very much. So I guess that we're not just introducing a tool and framework, but we're also changing the mindset of the teachers and prospective students. Okay, so thank you for sharing your experiences, just a little bit. Yeah. Yes. Maybe one question to all of you and also to the other project partners that were also implementing this in practice. What was the most difficult part in the implementation, and what is something that you can emphasize as the most positive experience? You must face some difficulties, so what was that?
Well,
because it's not always just the bright side.
They didn't give me any feedback of any difficulties so far. They said that it was very useful and easy to use, and that they could define the dimensions they would wanted to use. So they were very positive about this. I mean, I don't have any negative aspect so far. Maybe in the future it could come. I don't know. When they use it more with pupils, maybe, I don't know. Could happen.
I think on the bright side, it fueled a lot of discussion about what is quality physical education, something that we did not discuss before. The dark side was actually I had a problem with one teacher who was very involved in the project. She was very in it, and then we used that with students. So the students were here to use the tool with her own lesson, and it turns out it was really nice, until one group disagreed with the teacher.
Yes.
And we saw that on the screen.
That's a problem.
And this was a problem because what they outlined is that they did not agree on the, they raised safety concerns. And I was there too. I didn't raise these concerns, there was a reason for that. And she was kind of like, who are you to judge me? See what I mean? So that was actually a problem. And that's why we raised the concern about how to use it. So I think that there are some you can encounter some difficulty if you do it. I didn't see that coming actually. So I wouldn't do that like this in the near future if I had to use the tool again. But still, it's very useful in lots of settings.
I think this also goes in line with what we discussed today, that we need to have teachers that are ready to change and to see what is really done. So to be criticized themselves and through their work. Gregor, what's happened in Slovenia?
Yeah. Yeah, we were a little bit disappointed about other professors, assistants from our field. Actually, who we have the context of Slovenia is that we have 5 years for educating our PE teachers. They are getting a lot of knowledge also on different sports. Our group is dealing with so-called didactics of physical education. But of course, we have a lot of colleagues who are working, let's say, on volleyball, gymnastics, etc. And they have their own perception about the PE classes. And I believe this tool would be really valuable for them also. And we invited them, please see what is quality of PE. Also, when it comes to organization of the class, etc., because this is incorporated in tool. But they did not come to this workshop, and I see this as a weakness.
So we come to that we should also work on the mindset of the teachers.
Yeah, or educators.
Yes, educators. Okay, thank you very much. Would someone from the project partners also want to share some of the experiences that were not shared so far? Or also others to ask some questions? This is also an invitation for the online participants. If you have some questions, you can share it now with us in the chat. Yes, we have one question from them.
I think it's fantastic. It's a brilliant tool. I just wondered whether you considered having pre-loaded selections. So if you were to map them against physical literacy, against meaningful PE, against holistic PE, so that if the student teachers wanted to assess themselves against these different elements, you could almost have pre-loaded dimensions and they could just select it. And I think as a teaching tool for a teacher educator, for me, that'd be really useful.
Well, if I may answer to that, I think one of the strengths of the tool is that it provides the freedom to the teacher to say, what is my objective today? And the objective might vary as function of the day and also of the class and the settings, etc. So it's what makes this tool different from all others great you have to assess the quality of physical education is that you can really reflect on what are my objectives today on this class and how many do I want to choose. You know, you have between 3 and 8. So I'm not sure that if you propose like preloaded template, it's gonna make the trick, because then you will start to go back to the other grids that are pre-formatted for that.
And if I can add also, I see this tool as a really tool for support professional development of a PE teacher as well as students. So to find the let's say strong and weak sides and to reflect what I have to improve together with tutors or with mentor on the school or with educator on the university level.
Yeah, thank you. Knowing what we need to evaluate is also a way that what we need to improve in our work and what we need to pay attention more. Thank you very much. Do you have some? Yes, Professor.
Congratulations for the call, but I wonder for the answer of these two questions. Did you prepare any objective criteria that would be for students, educator, observer, or teacher?
Maybe. So yeah.
Yes. Can you please repeat the question?
Maybe you can repeat within the microphone. So the question is about the methodology. So did we have some background behind creating the items, etc.? So this was presented previously. So yeah, maybe.
Well, it depends on the dimension which we choose. If we are going to the classroom management dimension, there is a long history of Kuhnen and others on classroom management. So it's the theory behind. It's part of it's a part of the theory behind. If we talk about social emotional support, there's a lot of theory behind from attachment theory and self-determination theory. If you go to the selection and presentation of content, then we go very close to that, what we learn in physical education and didactics of physical education about the content which has a connection to the real world scenarios of students. And you can so go through all the dimensions, and in each dimension you have a different part of a theory. So it might be the case that some people say it's more a system of building and putting together different theories, but quality of physical education is quite broad, a wide concept. So you have to choose different theories behind to connect them to quality of physical education. And the mapping, for example, for meaningful PE would work, and you can choose different dimensions to see what is meaningful. And for example, if you use or select present content, what you want to teach, then it's one thing or one criterion is to think about, is there a real world scenario, a real world connection for the students outside of school?
Thank you. Haven't you also had some comments related to the use of the tool in the professional development of teachers? Can you please reflect a short on that?
Yeah. So, well, I tried to motivate the people to chat a little bit. So I wrote a little bit about how we use it in Hamburg, and moreover, and one thing that is important is that you should not use it for grading. Gregor mentioned that it's for professional development. It's for reflection of teachers. It's to think about what are other thinking about me. It's a self-other agreement on different things. And there are two options to reflect on. We can reflect on the level. If something is very high, then it's also giving you a good feedback of what you have done. If it's a low level, then you can think about how you can improve that. And if you have a difference on the levels, then you have to think about, what do I see? I can see what you don't see is the answer about that tool. So different perspectives can help. And everybody should be open and curious of what other people think about me when I'm teaching. And we have to be open for that. That's my opinion.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing all these possibilities of the tool. Do we have some more questions? We have still some more time. Yes, please.
First of all, thanks to all the contributors. It sounds like a very great tool to use, and yeah, it seems like a very thorough process behind it. My question would be if you would like to make it more inclusive in terms of easy language, so that even younger students can use it, because that was one of the pilot study findings, and I would think of it as a good idea to, and it should not be too complicated to yeah, these things up for those younger students.
One thing is, I show how many. Maybe repeat the question.
Yes. The question was how to improve the questionnaire to make it more inclusive for younger students. Okay. It's just I switched to the yes. The development of the items was a really long process. As you can see, 58 items were already used in other studies. So it's about 15 to 20 years, this, Erin, yes? And we see then the validated items are shorter, are not so complex, and we tried to formulate the new ones as easy as possible. But to involve all the contents of the subdimension, like metacognitive learning, we had to make it as simple as possible, but there is some complexity to show the subdimension behind it. So in the future, we have to improve the items to make them more simple, but we have to be aware that we just keep up the structure of the subdimension. And on the other hand, on a practical side, I ask myself if the tool is really reliable if you use it, for example, in a third class with 9-year-olds. Because the reading literacy is not, they're not as good readers as older ones. So we have to discuss if they really understand what the items mean. So I think that's a process we have to think about, and in future, this is an interesting question. Yes. But Erin has some additions.
Yeah, and moreover, you can think about if you use it only from two perspectives, the observer perspectives and the teacher perspectives. And we have some of the dimension where we think, hey, students are not able to assess that. So we skipped it for the student version, and so can use it for the other perceptions from the observer and from the student in their internships or in their practical lessons. That's an opportunity.
Yeah, even more because we are burdening students with answering, and therefore they have a shorter period of physical education. So we have to use it carefully.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I could add also, when we had made this multiple event in Sweden, that teachers were also very concerned that we have to agree upon certain statements so that we actually interpret them in the same way. So there were suggestions that perhaps there could be a lazy bone, a small list that these are statements that we will use to make it more simple. But of course, it's also a question of how young students can we use the tool. But I think, as several of us has said, it's a very useful, and we can get an overview, and that is also what the practitioners have seen, that it is possible to get an overview and to choose statements that are understandable and that we can have a discussion around as well. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Susan, and thank you all for your valuable comments and insights. These are the pioneer steps in developing the tool, and definitely there is room for improvement, but still we can all agree that it's okay, that it's very beneficial that this is started and then it's implemented already, and we have already some starting points where how to use it and where we can improve it. So if there's no other questions or comments, I suggest to go. Do we have some comments or questions? No, I cannot see anything in the chat. I will suggest now to go to the overview of the links and the QR codes of all the project results and outcomes that are already done, so all of you can scan them and use them in your work. And they're all available also on the website of the project, and will be also available on the website of Eupea. Also, this international multiplier event was recorded, knowing that all the situation with the Euro Cup and everything, that the teachers are interested in football, that's why I recorded. So it will be also available on the YouTube channel of Eupea, so you can also share this information with your colleagues, with your friends, and also physical education teacher associations. And as you all know, Eupea is umbrella organization of physical education teacher associations in different countries. So it's available for all those teachers. And at the end, I would like to thank you to all the partners in the project consortium for their extensive work in the last 2 years, and also for their contribution for this international multiplier event. Also, many thanks to Aline and the coordination of these activities and not so easy work to be done. And once again, thank you all for your time and for your attention here. So with this, at the end, we could just we would like to have your short feedback about this event. So I would like to ask you to scan the last QR code and then give your feedback about this multiplier event, so we could know how to improve in future. So you can.